Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It is Tuesday, September 29th. Today is going to be the first presidential debate tonight at 8 p.m. Central Time. I'm going to be streaming this on my personal Twitch channel. The link will be in the description. I will have at least one friend that I know of joining me. Maybe more people will be joining me throughout the night. We'll see. Be sure to watch that. The stories we're going to be talking about today are Trump's Supreme Court pick, the expectation Republicans are setting up the expectation that the court will have some role to play in the election, and Trump's taxes, which is a breaking story from the New York Times on Sunday, the 27th. So I feel like all of these, especially the last story, are going to be brought up in the debate tonight. So I picked these stories because they're relevant to the news, and also to a smaller extent, they will be brought up tonight. So I'm sort of implanting these ideas in your mind right now, so you can think about that later when you're watching the debate with or without me. Although I encourage you to watch the debate with me, I'll try not to comment too much. We'll be pausing and making comments when appropriate. Okay, so let's start off with Trump's Supreme Court pick. Amy Coney Barrett was nominated by Trump on Saturday, the 26th, to fill the vacancy left by Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who passed away of complications of pancreatic cancer in the past 2 weeks. I don't remember exactly when that was. Amy Coney Barrett is a professor at law at Notre Dame. She is a Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals judge who was also nominated by Donald Trump. And her confirmation, according to, I believe it was Lindsey Graham, although irrelevant because this is still the confirmation, when the confirmation begins, is going to be on October 12th. So they are obviously trying to expedite this process. Republicans have made it clear that they want to get this nomination and appointment done, or the appointment, I guess, done before the election day, or before election day. And the reason that is well, this is just speculation on my part, but it's going to look a lot worse for Republicans. Not that they don't care, like they don't care, they'll still do it, but it's going to look a lot worse for Republicans if Donald or if Joe Biden wins the nomination, or not that yes, if Joe Biden wins the election and then they nominate during the lame duck period in which Donald Trump is in office for like 3 more months or 2 more months, and they don't want to do it because that obviously looks bad if you're nominating on the way out the door. That's not, you know, something like 60% of the American people want the next replacement for Ruth Bader Ginsburg to be selected by whoever wins this election. Right, so Republicans are going to try to do this as fast as possible. Again, they don't care; they'll do it anyway. Even if Biden wins, they'll still confirm if they haven't already because they have no principles. But it's still it will it's better overall for them, they perceive, in my opinion, that if they do it before the election, it's better optics. So apparently, though, there were reports of conflicting personalities with Trump. From what I've researched from Amy Coney Barrett, she seems like a principled conservative, actually, and like a good-hearted person, and somebody who adjudicates the law in an objective manner in which she seems deems appropriate and tries not to bring her personal feelings into it as much as possible. And obviously, that's going to be a contrast with Trump. Most good-hearted, principled conservatives in the United States have completely conflicting and contradictory personalities with Donald Trump. The only thing they'll agree on is the substance. Optics-wise, though, Trump's a nightmare for these types of conservatives. So no surprise there. Um, so immediately the issue of Roe v. Wade comes up. Roe v. Wade is the Supreme Court decision that gave people who can get pregnant the right to abortions without excessive government restrictions. Okay, Roe v. Wade is not the decision that allowed women to have abortions, or the bill or the legislation or whatever that allows people who can get pregnant to have abortions, but it allows those people to be able to get abortions without excessive government restrictions. So that doesn't mean no government restrictions. So Roe v. Wade still allows for some restriction to be made. And so they being Republicans, have been trying to overturn this for a long time. That, like I said, that immediately comes into mind when you think about this nomination and how it's going to be a 6-3 conservative versus liberal Supreme Court who might see this or reevaluate the merits of Roe v. Wade. And in the past, Amy Coney Barrett has voted in favor of harsher restrictions on abortion when it came to things she could decide on several judge panels. She often, twice voted in favor of more strict regulations on abortion in the past. Although she has said that she has no interest in, or not that she has no interest, that she doesn't think it's possible to completely overturn Roe v. Wade. That doesn't mean that they won't impose further restrictions. That doesn't mean that. So what has Amy said in the past about Roe v. Wade and about abortion? She's never made any references to appealing Roe v. Wade, like I said in the past, or abolishing abortion. Like I said, she's said that Roe v. Wade will probably never be overturned, and she's never made any indication that she wants to outright ban abortions. She has said, though, that all abortions are immoral, period, which is very concerning. But if we're just looking at her record and what she said, it doesn't appear to be that Roe v. Wade is in as much danger as we initially thought with this new Supreme Court nominee. Not that it's in no danger. I mean, we should obviously be concerned. Our human rights, like, I don't want to downplay this at all right now. Okay, our human rights could be violated. Our human rights are on the ballot this election, although that's a separate issue from the Supreme Court, since they might get the Supreme Court before the election, and they most likely will. Has said abortion choice will probably stay, as I said. And she wants to give more freedoms to states to restrict abortion. So some states have, the way Roe v. Wade works is in the first trimester, nobody, no governing entity can restrict access to abortions. Okay. In the second trimester, states can start imposing restrictions on abortion, and then in the third trimester, states have the ability to outright ban abortions in the third trimester. And so that's what Roe v. Wade does already. So it's not like it just gives us the right to have abortions, period, with no qualifiers. This is what Roe v. Wade, this is what's written in the law in Roe v. Wade. And what Barrett wants to do is increase the rights of states to be able to restrict abortions. And this is obviously not good. I mean, we need more abortion protections in the United States. There are several states out where it's impossible, not impossible, but you have one abortion doctor for thousands of people in a given area. Republicans tried to pass recently a law in Louisiana that said only a doctor with hospital admitting privileges would be able to perform abortions, which in the state of Louisiana, there was literally one doctor for like the whole state who could do that, who qualified for that. So they're not going, my genuine concern is not that they are going to try to overturn Roe v. Wade or outright abolish abortion. They're not going to do that. And I've heard this. I don't agree with this take that I'm about to tell you, although I think it deserves some room in the conversation. Republicans don't want to overturn this because it is an issue for them that gets them elected. Every cycle, they'll say, I respect the right to life. They won't say abortion, but they'll say things like the right to life, and whatever. And if Republicans get what they wanted, and now abortion is abolished or restricted, which is widely unpopular with the American people, if Republicans get that, what are they going to run on? Republicans don't run on doing things. Republicans run on stopping things. Maybe Bernie Sanders isn't the best example because he's I guess a Democrat only when he's running for president. But Obama had the ACA. He ran on giving more health care. I mean, Joe Biden. Why do I have to look anywhere other than Joe Biden? Joe Biden is running on a $15 minimum wage. He has a framework of the Green New Deal that he wants to implement. He wants climate justice. He does not want to restrict abortions. So Democrats run on things they want to do and things that they want to happen. Health care, minimum wage. Republicans only run on things that they don't want. They say, I don't want abortion. I don't want universal health care. I don't want a minimum wage. I want to ease restrictions on businesses. I don't want businesses restricted. Republicans only run on things that they don't want. So if they now get this issue resolved again, which is widely unpopular of abortion, that will be one less thing for them to run on. And they realize that they are the party of the status quo. They're not the party of getting things done and progress. I mean, obviously, they're the party of just maintaining the status quo. So this is not going to be a very popular issue. Again, I don't agree completely with this take that I'm giving you right now. I think it deserves some room in the conversation. But I think that the reason I wouldn't entirely take this opinion as my own is because we cannot uh, be complacent or tell ourselves that delude ourselves in some sort of fantasy like what I just described, which is not entirely fantastical, and say that our rights to abortions are not under attack as much as we believe them to be. Although I do believe they're not as much under attack as we believe them to be. But I don't doubt that Republicans will do everything in their power to try to do this. I mean, even if it is an optics nightmare for them, I don't know. I'm conflicted on this issue, but I guess the thing I arrive on, the conclusion I arrive to, is that Roe v. Wade is probably safe. It's not going to be overturned. But my concern is harsher restrictions on abortions and giving states more rights to restrict abortions. That's my concern. I think that that's the real conversation. Overturning the ACA and overturning Roe v. Wade. These things are widely unpopular. Widely, not that that would stop Republicans, but it won't be. It's not going to be good for them. It's not going to be good for them to do these things. They can they will work on the margins, like what Trump did with repealing the individual mandate, and by giving states more rights to restrict abortions. They're not going to do the thing that they say they're going to do, like restrict this or abolish this law. They're only going to work in the margins to try to do these things. Okay, so next we're going to be talking about Republicans are setting up the expectations. And I will show a clip. I'll show two clips, actually. The Republicans are setting up the expectation that the election is going to be decided by the courts. And we need to not let them get away with this. And what I mean by that is, right now, Republicans are speaking in a way, and I will show you a Lindsey Graham clip shortly, that implies that even though, the clip that I showed you, no ballots had been counted at that time. Even though ballots are barely getting counted right now in Virginia, I think Virginia is the first state to vote, and they've already started early voting. Even before we have any ballots, Republicans are framing the issue as this election is going to be decided by the courts. It is going to go to the courts. And they're saying it as if it's a foregone conclusion, when we need to not let them do that. The questioning of the integrity of our election is totally devised by Trump. It's not anything that's part of reality. It's like our election being susceptible to massive fraud because of mail-in voting. It's just a total fantasy. But they have said this for so long, and it's been ingrained in the minds of Americans for so long, that setting up the expectations as Republicans are that the courts are going to decide this seems like a perfectly normal thing. They normalize it by creating speculation around the ballots, like Donald Trump has. And then now that has been simmering in your mind for a while, then they set up the expectation. They do this sleight of hand where it's like, well, the courts are going to be deciding this. They don't say it blatantly, but they're like, well, the courts are going to be deciding this sort of thing, so we need to fill that seat as fast as possible. And I was talking in the last segment about Coney Barret. We need to fill that seat as fast as possible because this is going to be why? That's like a sleight of hand. Wait a minute. How did we get to this point now? Okay, Trump made the claims that our voting system is rigged, which is not true. And if you're an American who knows anything about anything, you will already not believe that. And so only if you were to have been tricked by that first lie would you accept this next framing as the question as being perfectly valid and reasonable, when reasonable Americans like myself and others see this and say, hey, wait a minute, why? No, we don't. The court doesn't need to decide on this. Why? That's not a foregone conclusion. Votes haven't been counted yet. We don't even know what the ballots look like. How can we say that the courts are going to decide this? And it's because they are setting up that expectation, like I said, and we can't fall for it. We can't fall for this framing. We have to battle them every time they say this, every time they have this talking point about well, we need to fill the seat as fast as possible because the courts are going to decide the election, say, no, wait, why does that need to be the case? Why does the court need to decide? And then, they might bring up some voter fraud or whatever. And, okay, I'll say this. I didn't research too much into voter fraud, but I'll say this. For this segment, I didn't research the particular aspect of voter fraud that is relevant to this. Keep this in mind. Anytime you hear a story about voter fraud happening, there are some ballots, this happened. Every time you hear a story like that, every time you see that headline, think, that means that they found those ballots. That means that the voter fraud was found out. And it's never mass voter fraud in the way they say. It's usually, there's a few votes here, there's a few votes here that maybe got, mixed up or tossed out or whatever. And I'm not even saying that these things weren't on purpose to some capacity. And this must happen every election. But every time you hear a story like that, think, wait, but that means that they found those, and that means that they corrected the thing that happened. It's not always just blatant voter fraud. Sometimes votes are just found or cast aside by accident, or found in a ditch, as they say. The 8 votes found in a ditch that made national headlines. 8 votes, and then they found them too. So it's like so it's been corrected then. Okay, but anyway, here's Lindsey Graham on Sean Hannity's program, in which, again, it's not gonna be blatant. Don't expect the clip I'm about to show you of Lindsey Graham saying, we need to do this because it's going to go to the courts. The election is going to go to the courts. We need to get this done because the election is going. He's going to do it in a different way. Sleight of hand. We'll talk about it.
This Lindsey Graham, Senator, welcome to the program. It's interesting how all the precedent was broken by them, right? Now they're threatening stack the court.
Right. It's pretty obvious they want an outcome. They'll destroy anybody's life to keep these seats open. They said they tried to destroy Brett Kavanaugh so they could fill the seat. They were dumb enough to say that. I've seen this movie before. It's not going to work. It didn't work with Kavanaugh. We've got the votes to confirm Justice Ginsburg's replacement before the election. We're going to move forward in the committee. We're going to report the nomination out of the committee to the floor of the United States Senate so we can vote before the election. That's the constitutional process. After Kavanaugh, everything changed with me. They're not going to intimidate me, Mitch McConnell, or anybody else.
Now, hilariously enough, when this clip was recorded, Trump hadn't even announced who his nominee was. So Lindsey Graham saying, we have the votes, it's going to be somebody that the Republicans like. Just know that he's signaling in that moment, I don't care who it is, we are going to vote for this person. Okay, so, and then you also heard Lindsey Graham say in that clip that everything changed for him after Kavanaugh. And what he means by that is, well, in the last year of Obama's presidency, when there was a vacancy opened up on the court, the Republicans and Mitch McConnell set up the precedent that you don't do that in the final, let the people decide that November at the election if they want a liberal or conservative justice. So they set up that expectation, but now Lindsey Graham is saying everything changed for me after Kavanaugh. Okay, now let me show you this clip of Lindsey Graham after Kavanaugh was appointed.
There's a Republican president in 2016 and a vacancy occurs in the last year of the first term. You can say Lindsey Graham said, let's let the next president, whoever it might be, make that nomination, and you could use my words against me, and you'd be absolutely right.
So, again, he said, if the scenario that's happening right now in real life were to happen, then you can use my words against me. But then he goes on Sean Hannity's program, and he says, everything changed for me after Kavanaugh. But the recording I just showed you was after Kavanaugh. So, again, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, because Republicans always compromise on their values. I'm a broken record at this point. I just say the same things, but because they keep on proving you right. Okay, so, and I don't think that's really a useful rhetorical device to say Republicans are liars. And even to show that clip, the only person that clip is useful for is for Jamie Harrison, who's running against Lindsey Graham. It's not useful for getting votes for Democrats, because either you are a person who already realizes that Republicans compromise on their values and that they don't care about real principles, or you're not going to believe it no matter what I show you. So there's no real utility in focusing too much on Lindsey Graham. But let me get back to my Lindsey Graham's lying and lack of principles. But let me get back to my original point, which is that they're setting up this expectation for the courts. Again, Lindsey Graham didn't even blatantly say it. All he said was, we need to do this before the election. And if you saw the election counter at the bottom of the Sean Hannity clip, it said 43 days. It usually takes around 2 months for a Supreme Court from the point of nomination to appointment to happen. They're trying to do this in about a month, and about a little bit shorter of a time since the or not a month, but about a month and a half is what they're trying to do. And I said in the previous segment, they're setting up this. They're not. I said in the previous segment that they want to do it before the election for optics, and now I'm saying in this section that they're also doing it because they're going to set up the expectation that the courts have something to do with this. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe more clips will come out and say, no, this election will not go to the courts. The Republicans will come out and say that, although I highly doubt it. I believe there are going to be more clips coming out confirming what I just stated right now. We'll see, though. I could be 100% wrong. I could have completely misinterpreted Lindsey Graham in this situation, and I kind of hope I did. Okay, so there was a breaking story on Sunday on the 27th, released by the New York Times, that gives us a look at Trump's income taxes. So Trump broke tradition in 2016 by not releasing his federal income taxes, as every single presidential nominee had done before him who could have done so. Trump broke that, saying he was under audit, which doesn't prevent you from releasing your tax returns. And then even after he wasn't under audit from 2002 to 2008 anymore, those accounts had already been audited, he still refused to release those. So he's been trying to use this whole audit thing for like years. I mean, since 2016, and it just doesn't work. He even tried to use it still the other day, and nobody believes it. But he's just going to keep on doing it, and no one's going to question him, really. I mean, they'll try, but what are they can't force him to release it. So the New York Times, apparently from trustworthy legal sources, according to them, have obtained Donald Trump's tax returns, and he paid $750 in income taxes in the years 2016 and 2017, and paid $0 in 10 out of the 15 years from 2000 to 2015. So other 5 years he paid another amount of money, but 10 of those 15 years he paid nothing in income taxes. He's also been in a legal battle for a long time with the IRS concerning a $73 million refund that was issued to him by the IRS. He's been under audit and been in a legal battle with that. He also got $397,000 from a hotel stay from Billy Graham. If you remember, Billy Graham is a televangelist from the 50s and 60s. And these are like pretty much the breaking headlines. This is what I just told you right there. But let's not act surprised, okay? And I don't think anybody really is. Anybody who's on the left anyway, or anybody who has a sense of what's happening in reality is really surprised by this. So let's not act surprised. I mean, I certainly wasn't surprised. And let's not forget that Amazon, the company, not Jeff Bezos, the individual, but Amazon paid $0 in federal taxes in 2018. So we have a system in the United States that allows for large companies and very wealthy people to take large deductions from their expenses and make it to where somebody who is a purported billionaire, as Donald Trump is, although his tax filings have shown through the New York Times that most of his businesses are failing, somebody who's a purported billionaire like Donald Trump can then get a $73 million refund from the government. I mean, the thing about this story is that everything that happened with the tax return could be 100% legal. And leftists trying to make the argument online right now without knowing all the facts, saying this is illegal, this is horrible, he should be arrested, this is tax fraud, stop. Okay, stop. We don't know that. We just don't know if it's tax fraud or not. Is it wrong? Yeah. Is it immoral? Yes. Is it endemic of a system that has been created for a long time to benefit disproportionately white, rich people? Yeah. I mean, it's just like that's just the reality of what's going on. We can't immediately come out and say this is tax fraud if we just don't know. We can say it's wrong though, and we can call it out. So what does this tell us? Well, it tells us that we know why Trump didn't want to show his tax returns. It's because his businesses are failing massively, and he is using money from other places to then fund those businesses and then write off the losses as tax deductible and then not pay taxes. So we know that now it is confirmed that Trump is a bad businessman. Wow, amazing, right? Nobody care. I don't care about this angle, but I mean that's what I mean. It shows us now for sure. And it shows some specifics about his taxes. Again, $750 from 2016 and 2017. So a total of $1,500. Thank you, Donald Trump, for those 1,500. So what does this tell us that we already knew? Trump is a liar. We already know Trump. We already know he had something to hide in his books. Like, we already knew this, and this just confirms that. And again, that he's not a good businessman. He used $427 million that he got from The Apprentice to fund his overseas businesses. And since he has got taken office, his businesses have reported massive profits, actually, since he has taken office, which was completely different than previously when he in the year 2017 he reported massive profits on his business when previously his businesses were massive losers. So that again raises some questions. We don't know. Again, I'm not going to make any specific claims about this happened and this happened or he committed this tax fraud, but these are just the facts as we know them to be right now. The New York Times had apparently gotten this information. They said from a legal source. They're not going to release a legal trusted source. They said that they're not going to release the actual tax returns themselves because that would compromise their source. This is going to be a developing story. It's I don't have much to say about it. Honestly, I just gave you the facts right now. And it's going to definitely come up tonight. And this is going to be one that's definitely one to look out for. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, we're going to be streaming tonight at 8 p.m. We're going to be streaming the debate on my Twitch channel. Be sure to check the description. 8 p.m. Central Time is when the debate will start. I will see you then. Thank you guys so much.